Example 1 from topic 8, section 4, where we're making frequency tables and a histogram. And you'll see in the lesson the histogram and how it looks like a bar graph, but there's some differences between a bar graph and a histogram.
How can you make and use a frequency table and a histogram? Think about this question during the lesson. Mr. Maxwell timed the cross-country team in a 2-mile run. He wants to organize the data in a frequency table. A frequency table shows the number of times a data value or values occurs in the dataset. How can Mr. Maxwell make a frequency table? Look at the ranges of running times shown in the frequency table. How do they compare?
First thing I want to point out is that these are ranges. So we would look at the time from anywhere from 14 minutes to 15 and 15 minutes, 59 seconds. And if one of those times matched that, then we would put a tally. And then at the end, count up the tallies to do this frequency. So 1645, that would go here. We would put a tally. 1425, go here.
Each range is the same amount of time, 2 minutes. Organize the data in the frequency table. Why do you think the frequency table displays the data using ranges of data values?
All right, a couple of reasons could be organization. The best runners have the shorter time. If we're grouping them according to ability, things like that.
Each running time occurs only once, so making the frequency table using single data values would not be very helpful in analyzing the data. Use the frequency table to make a histogram. A histogram is a graph that uses bars to show the frequency of equal ranges or groups of data. Step 1.
I'm going to pause right there and just highlight some of the important things from that definition. So it is a graph, right? So it's a visual representation of the data. You can look at it very quickly and get a sense of the information. And then it is equal ranges. And they made this point earlier when they were talking about each of these running times was grouped by 2 minutes. All right, so we have equal ranges. The ranges will be down here in 2-minute intervals, and they'll match these times. And then the frequency along the vertical.
Step 1. Title the graph. Step 2. Choose the scale for the vertical axis. Step 3. List the time intervals along the horizontal axis. Step 4. Graph the data by drawing a bar for each interval. What does the histogram show?
Now, one important thing that I was taught when I was learning this is that the bars on a histogram are separated by some very small space usually. In this picture, it does not show that, but just be careful. If you do see that on testing or elsewhere, then broken bars that do not touch are histograms, generally speaking. All right, so we're selecting the bar in the histogram to see what it represents. So this here, there we go. So this bar here is 4 runners, right? 4 runners had a time between 14 and 15 minutes, 59 seconds. And then the middle bar, most of the runners, we had 6 runners in that range. And then finally, 2 runners down in the lower range of the time that it took to run. I think this was a 2-mile race.
The histogram shows that the greatest number of team members had times in the middle interval, with a few running a little faster and some running a little slower. Now you know how you can make and use a frequency table and a histogram.
So again, a couple of key features. The representation at the bottom.
Now you know how you can make and
The representation of a histogram at the bottom is a range of data, and then along the left-hand side is the number of data, and it generally comes from the frequency table to a histogram. Notice the titles and that they've labeled their axes.
Mr. Maxwell timed the cross-country team in a 2-mile run and recorded the time in the table shown. Here is a different way to represent Mr. Maxwell's data. Fill in the boxes with appropriate times and complete the frequency table. How have the intervals changed?
Right, so in this frequency table, you can see that their intervals are basically 1-minute time periods. From 14 minutes to 14 minutes 59 seconds is actually 1 minute, right? Because from 0 to 1, you have 1. So 1 minute to another minute, a third minute. So we would fill in here with 16:59. So 16:59. And then 18 minutes here, and then 19 minutes to 19:59. Go through and record our tallies. So 16:45 is going to be right here, and then I like to cross it out so that I know I've dealt with it. 14:25 is going to be here. 18:40 is going to be here. 16:03 is going to be here. 15:12 is going to be here. 19:15 is going to be here. 17:14 is here. 14:02. 16:52. 15:18. 17:49. And 17:55. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 pieces of data. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 tallies. So I was careful, and I believe that I did that accurately. And then we go through and we say, okay, 2 tally marks is a frequency of 2, 2, 3, 3, 1, and 1. And 2, 2, 3, 3, and 1. So we did that correctly. Now we want to create our histogram. Right? So we have 2 runners in the 14 to 14:59, and then 2 here, and then 3 here. We had 3 there, and then we had 1 here, and 1 there.
How is the analysis of the information displayed different between the 2 histograms?
All right, so here's what I was talking about earlier. When the bars in a histogram do not touch, it's a clue that this is a histogram, not just a regular bar model. Okay, again, the range of values and the space between the bars, that is a histogram. In this one here, we have a shorter amount of range, right? Just 1 minute ranges, and you get the data is more spread out. Here we had 2 minute ranges, and our data is kind of closely packed together. So depending on your need, you might choose to do it this way or this way. Same idea, same data. The only thing that changed was the ranges. All right. So we're going to ask you to go ahead and complete on pages 493, 494, numbers 6, 7, 17, 18. I'll write that right here. You can get started. All right, there we go. Pages 493, 494, numbers 6, 7, 17, and 18. Good luck. Raise your hand if you need any help.